Welcome to the Doc G Show, a radio show cluster. Without further ado, critics have said he has the face for radio and a voice for silent films. Your host, Ben Doc G Gordon.
And we are on the air. Welcome to the Doc G Show. I am your host, Doc G. With me, as always, the one, the only, Mikey Maximus, the dad in all of us, Charette.
Doc G, what is up, sir?
I just realized I didn't mean to make that sexual, Mike.
Hey,
the
man,
dad in all of us. That you know.
I'll be a dad.
Ooh, father figure.
I can make babies.
He's a father figure, everybody. George Michael's. That's a good song, Mike. I don't know if you know that. Father figure. George Michael's. It's a jam.
Definitely give it a listen.
One of George Michael's jams there. It's been a good week for me, Mike.
Yeah.
How's your week been going?
Oh, man, it's great, man. I've been wearing a lot of slippers lately. Got some Bombas. You know about Bombas?
Reaching that old man status. I like it. I like it. You know what? I haven't got them yet, but I did order. It's funny that you said that. I ordered a pair of UGG slippers.
Oh, man, that's
fancy slippers. Yeah.
Premium.
Yeah. I'm pretty excited about them. They haven't came, and every now and then I forget that I ordered them, and then I remember, and I'm like, oh, yeah.
When did you order them? I mean, I feel like Uggs is like next day.
No, I ordered them from...
Got some specialty?
I don't want to give them a plug on our show because we all know their sales will go through the roof, but Dillard's, Mike.
Oh, okay.
And the old Dillard's is taking a little bit.
You're still trying to support the retail.
You know, I could have ordered them on Amazon, and you know what? I gave the big middle finger to Amazon. That's what I did.
I worry about Amazon, man. A lot of like counterfeit stuff now.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, even Uggs. I feel like you can get some counterfeit Uggs now.
You get some oofs or something, and you're like, "What is that? Oofs? That's not Uggs."
Yeah, but they look almost exactly the same. Everything is the same except.
It's like getting a Rolex on New York sidewalks, man.
Yeah,
gotta watch out. Gotta watch out. But Mike, I do have a little news for you.
Word.
You know, as you remember, I was forced into indentured servitude last weekend.
Oh yeah.
The friend's wedding.
Yep.
There was travel. There was forced fun. There was interaction with people I didn't know and will never meet again. Mm-hmm. And let's be honest, the PTSD will live on for years, Mike.
Yeah.
But I've got good news, Mike.
What's that?
My friend's wife started following the show.
Yes. Hey, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Don't listen to any previous episodes.
I was about to say, Mike, my only guess is that she was being nice and just following the show because she's now married to my best friend. But, you know, just don't listen to last week's show, the start of it. That's all I'm saying, you know? But then I started thinking about it. I'm like, what if she did listen to the show and she actually agreed with it? She was like, yeah, what is the deal with weddings? Yeah. Those things suck. Like, you know, I might be better friends with her than my best friend, Mike. I might be like, you know what? Never mind. She's won me over. This is pretty great.
She gets it.
I mean, I can just imagine. I go over to her house and be like, "Yeah, so I got invited to another wedding," and she's like, "Oh my God, what the? They're ruining your life." I'm like, "Thank you,
thank you,
exactly."
And your friend's like, "What are you guys talking about?"
Exactly. He's like, "I love weddings," and I'm like, "Oh no, they got to you.
Must not be a listener."
Mike, I've got another thing though. Now, this is, Mike, the last couple of months, probably the last 3.5 months of your life, you have slept approximately 4 hours because of your baby.
Right.
So, in light of this information, Mike, I would like to let you know about a dream I had last night to remind you of what sleeping used to be like.
Oh, yeah, dreaming.
Yeah.
That's nice.
It's so let me we all know everyone hates when a friend tells you a dream that they had. So I'm going to do that to all of our listeners.
Oh, come on. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So bad news, listeners. You get to hear about this dream. Mike, let me set the scene. In the dream, it felt like it was Miami. I'm not sure. It just had sort of like a tropical feel to it. It felt like it was Miami, and I was in a courtyard. It was lovely. Seemed almost like a community college.
Okay.
There were like buildings, and there were like walkways to those buildings and whatnot.
Great courtyards.
Yeah. And I'd never been here before. This was just a figment of my dream world, you know? And now, I was there with my old friend Travis. I haven't talked to Travis in 15 years. So it was one of those, literally, I was just like, let's pull this guy out of rotation, you know? I was like, and so Travis was there. And also at the table was basketball broadcaster Dick Vitale. You know Dick Vitale?
With the suits?
He's the bald guy that, yeah, baby!
Huh?
Has the real strained voice.
I would know him.
Oh, you know him.
Probably,
you definitely know him. Dick, he's been battling cancer for the last year. And he just recently became cancer-free. And I got to tell you, in my dream, it hadn't brought him down a smidge. He looked fantastic. Looked tip-top in my dream, Mike. So if my dreams are any indication of real health, Dick's doing great.
Nice.
Now, last person of note in the dream, Nikola Jokic. Yeah. So Travis was catty-cornered to me, and Dick was right beside me, and Nikola was in front of me. And now, in classic fashion of all my good dreams, Mike, nothing really happened of substantial significance. Like, we were literally just hanging out in this courtyard. But the biggest thing that occurred during the dream, Mike, was that we got an order of bagels. Yeah. So we got an order of bagels. And those bagels came, and they were pretty delicious.
That's right.
They were some really good bagels. And we were all munching on the bagels. And at one point, they were like, the bagels were on like a wax piece of paper. And Jokic finished his bagel, and then he balled up the wax paper, and he threw it at a trash can, and he missed the shot. And I quickly, the quick wit of my dream brain was like, oh my God, he was so into the bagel he couldn't even concentrate on his shot. Threw the MVP off, couldn't make the shot because the bagel was so good. And everybody at the table was like, oh my God, yes! And I was so excited, Mike, that I had a great dream joke. Even though, obviously, it was not a good joke at all. But in my head, during the dream, I was like, nailed it! And Jokic was laughing his ass off about this joke. And I was like, yes, I got the Joker to laugh at my bagel joke. And I woke up and I was pretty jazzed.
Nice. Okay.
Just put me in a great mood for the rest of the morning. I was like, yeah, I had bagels with Jokic and he enjoyed my bagel joke. Yes. Isn't that great, Mike?
Yeah, man. You're funny in your dreams. It's good. It's good. It's a good vibe.
Completely fake scenario, but it just puts you in a great mood for the rest of the week. You know?
And you never know, man. What if that dream is actually in an alternate universe?
A preview. A preview.
You're just living that life in this other universe. And
well, I want to be in that universe.
Yeah.
That sounds better than this one. No offense to this one, but that sounds pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right? That I'm hanging out at a community college with Nikola and Dick.
For sure.
You know? And Travis. I don't know why he was there.
Nope.
But anyways, shout out to all my dream participants. But you know what, Mike? This radio show is sort of like that, you know? It's not real, but guess what? It puts you in a good mood afterwards.
Yeah, it does.
You know?
Yeah, it does.
So are you ready to fire this show up, Mike?
Let's fire up the show, Doc G.
All three engines up and burning. 2, 1, 0, and lift off.
Okay, Mike. Pretty good show.
Yes!
Well, you know what? Not pretty good. It's a great show.
Yes!
Yeah.
It's a great show. I'm not going to undersell it. It's a fantastic show. We have VAVO on. Now, I'm guessing you probably haven't heard of VAVO, Mike.
No.
They do, their big thing is DDM. Or not DDM, Yeedm.
EDM.
You know you've heard of EDM, of course.
Yeah, I've heard of EDM.
This is Yeedm. because it's Yeehaw Dance music.
Okay.
Yeah, so they take country music and they integrate it into electronic / dance music.
They're trying to make it less country.
Well, you know, they're merging, they're blending these genres, and I gotta say, it's been very popular. You know, it's gotten around. You know, these guys have done some very big things, Nice. And not only that, but they're coming to Jacksonville this weekend. Woohoo! April.
Cool to see their show, man. It would be cool to see their show because I wonder what the audience is like, what the venue's like, what the situation is
at least from the videos I've seen, the crowd's hype.
Yeah,
they've got the energy. You know, it's like it's like an EDM concert. People are bouncing up and down.
Yeah.
They drop the music. Everybody goes bananas
like
when they have
dancing,
the drop.
But it's like
no. It's just they're standing there like a. Well, now I did see one clip where they did have some line dancing like with the DJs. Right?
Yeah.
So they were line dancing in a row around the DJs, which was pretty dope.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
But I would like to be the DJ hype man, you know, beside him. Just the dude with the microphone that every now and then goes, yeah!
Yeah.
And that's pretty much it, you know? Just because I have no experience moving those knobs and doing other things there. But, you know, I might throw in a horn every now and then. If he shows me where the button is for the air horn, I might hit that. You know, but... Anyways, we're going to talk to Jesse, one half of VAVO here on the show. I'm very excited about it. But first, Mike, we need to start where we start.
Birthday suit.
Happy birthday, Mr. President.
Yep. Now, Mike, I think this is another one. Let me check. I forget the last two here. Okay. If we're doing sort of a parlay wager, I'm guessing like there's like a 15% chance that you get all three.
Okay.
Now on this first one,
that's about right.
On this first one, I'm giving you like a 75%.
Okay.
So here we go. Born on April 2nd, 1939 in Washington, D.C. Our birthday, I'm guessing you're going to need initials, by the way, just to jump in. That's my guess. Cool. Our birthday suit wearer was known as the Prince of Motown. The Prince of Motown. He was known for songs like Sexual Healing, I Heard It Through the Grapevine, Ain't No Mountain High Enough, and What's Going On. He has a Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award. He's in the Songwriters Hall of Fame, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. But sadly, our birthday suit wearer was murdered by his own father in 1984.
Ooh.
Name that birthday suit wearer.
Man, no idea. Yeah, let me get some initials. 75% on this one. Thank you for the vote of confidence, but...
MG. I know you know the name, 100%. I know you've heard the name.
MG.
Because, baby, there ain't no mountain high enough.
Great song. I don't know, man.
I feel like you're going to kick yourself a little bit, maybe. Marvin Gaye.
Ah, yeah.
Marvin Gaye. Yeah, man. Very interesting. I mean, super horrible life with his dad. His dad sort of beat him when he was young. And then now his dad shot him. They claimed in court it was because of a brain tumor he did have a brain tumor, but they claimed that was why he shot him. But there was a history of domestic abuse before that. And all Marvin Gaye was doing was breaking up him and his mom's fight. That's when he got shot, he was breaking up this fight between his mom and his dad. Very sad, Mike.
How old was he?
44.
Oof, man.
Very, very sad too. One day before his 45th birthday.
Ugh.
Yeah, rough, man. But I mean, he had so many good songs. You know, late 60s, he had all those good duets. You know, he had Ain't No Mountain High Enough, It Takes Two, You're All I Need to Get By. You're all I need to get by. The song that Method Man redid back in the day. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. But in 1982, he released Sexual Healing, which was the biggest hit of his career. When I get that feeling, I need a sexual healing.
Yeah,
healing. Yeah. In 1983, he performed a fantastic version of the Star Spangled Banner at the NBA All-Star Game.
So true.
He sort of did what Fergie aspired to do. Like, Fergie tried to take the national anthem and, like, do her own thing, you know?
Yeah.
And it did not work.
Yeah.
He tried to do his own thing, and it worked. And everybody loved it. Because it's not just your normal, you know... It's like a R&B version of the Star Spangled Banner. And, yeah, everybody jammed on it. You can YouTube it later on. Yeah, it's out there. I watched it just yesterday, actually. Definitely. But anywho, Mike, happy birthday to Marvin Gaye. A little bit of, you know, what could have been, you know? A little bit of what could have been. But anyways, happy birthday to Marvin Gaye. If he was still alive, he would be turning 85. 86. 86. Mike, are you ready to rip some headlines?
Yes, sir. Let's rip some headlines, Doc G.
It's now time for Rip from the Headlines.
Okay, Mike, let's start here with a headline from Fortune. Mr. Beast is the world's top YouTuber with $85 million empire, but he says the average person would be miserable living his life. I gotta say, Mike, whoa, 85 million? What happened to billionaire status, Jimmy? I kept hearing you were a billionaire. Come on now. Maybe the average person would be miserable because they just found out they lost $915 million. I think that would be why they'd be miserable. Now, in all fairness, Mike, Forbes ranks him at $550 million. And the $85 million is what he estimatedly made in 2024. Gotcha. But I will say there's estimations all over the board. But important with this story, Mike, because that's the whole deal, right? As this whole story is about how, you know, he's working all the time, right? And I respect the hustle. I mean, it's a dude that took a video of him counting to 100,000 and made it into millions and millions of people watching his every move and millions of dollars too. It's pretty impressive. I mean, the only more impressive transition is Kim Kardashian parlaying a sex tape into becoming a billionaire celebrity. Like,
yeah, it's pretty impressive.
It's impressive. I respect the hustle. I know you're not in this category, Mike. I have never watched Mr. Beast video.
Nope.
I've watched a couple of them.
I feel like you'd have watched at least one or two.
Yeah. I thought the one where he was running with cash was pretty interesting. Like, how much cash could he run with? I mean,
I'm sure there are interesting ones. Like, there's reading
short videos, but then also the one where he built some wells in Africa, and they were just like going and building wells. I thought that was pretty fascinating.
I was reading some of them, and I was like, yeah. It didn't draw me in enough to actually watch it, but I was like, that's pretty interesting. And I mean, he brought up a very good point. Like he said, you know, he got famous by the idea of the purple cow effect, right? You see a purple cow, and initially you're like, oh my God, what is that? But then you've got to recreate that, and it's hard to recreate a new purple cow that people react the same way to because the video every single time is a sort of a shock and amazement sort of thing, and that's why people watch it. So every time you're thinking of more weird things to impress people with. So I get it. That's tough. It's tough. But he made it for himself, man.
Yeah,
I mean, you know, if he wanted to, which I don't think he's the type of guy, he could just retire and have lots and lots of money and just hang out, you know?
Yeah.
But he doesn't seem like that guy.
He's addicted to the videos, man.
He Absolutely.
Loves the content. He's like, I'll spend all my money making content.
You know, you get to hang out with people like Tom Brady and like, you know, Drake and all these other giant, super famous people that are artists and athletes and everything else. Yeah, I could see where you'd get roped in. Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
So true.
Okay, Mike. Let's move on to our forte.
Selena Gomez.
She's still parlay. Let's give her, Mike, I'm going to say...
Next week.
No. I'm going to put a date on it, May 15th. That's going to be our Selena Gomez day. Get ready,
15
listeners.
minutes of Selena Gomez Taco Bell news.
if you are a fan, now we never said anything about Taco Bell. We've got some Taco Bell.
Oh no,
news,
we're gonna
Mike.
mix Taco Bell with Selena.
Absolutely,
Gomez, yeah.
absolutely. But we have some non-Selena Taco Bell news coming up.
Oh, cool.
Mike, let's get to our forte: food.
Yes.
I've got a headline from Southern Living here. Quote, the most legendary hot brown is from this Kentucky restaurant. Mike, this is great news if you know what a hot brown is.
No idea what a hot brown is.
Neither do I. Neither until I looked at this
like a
article.
gravy?
I'm gonna be honest. It definitely sounds like some kind of euphemism for taking a dump on somebody's porch during the winter. Like I left them a hot brown right on the front.
No,
like,
the hot brown.
It's gross, man. But apparently, I mean, honestly, it does sound pretty good. Like this. So here's what a hot brown is, Mike. First of all, is sandwich that was created in 1926. And the reason it's called a hot brown, it was made at the Brown Hotel.
Okay.
The Brown Hotel in Louisville, Kentucky. It's a open face sandwich, Mike. I never really got open face sandwiches. I'm like, why not just close it? Why not put on another piece of bread? But open face sandwich with turkey, bacon, covered in a Mornay sauce. You know a Mornay sauce, Mike?
No.
I researched it. I didn't know either. It was a bechamel sauce, which bechamel is one of the 5, mother sauces of French cuisine. It's essentially a cheese sauce.
Okay.
So, like, almost exactly what you get on a lot of macaroni and cheese, that's a Mornay sauce. Yeah, so pretty tasty, Mike.
Interesting. Yeah, we had to define that like four ways in. What was the sauce called?
So the actual sauce, Mornay
sauce, and then it was
bechamel
sauce, and then
which
that was
is
a part of the 5 mother
sauces of French cuisine.
I didn't know. I was like, "Are you gonna eventually say something?"
We're gonna get somewhere. Macaroni and cheese. We got there.
Which is essentially them putting macaroni and cheese on top of a sandwich, and I'm like, okay, now I get it.
Just the sauce, though, Mike, not the noodles. No noodles were harmed during the sandwich. But back to the headline, Mike. Any guesses where you can get the most legendary hot brown?
Somewhere in the Northeast, I would imagine.
At the hotel. It's still open.
Wait, where was the hotel originally?
Louisville, Kentucky.
Okay. Never mind.
It's still open, and I got to be honest, Mike. Looks like a pretty good hotel. Like it's a classy hotel. They made it look really like historical. And it's all brick. It's a really big building.
Those are always the ones that I think are the most haunted.
The
more historical it looks, like the less I'm like, I really don't know if I want to.
I would definitely agree with you, Mike. But this one, it wasn't made until 1923, so they made it look extra old, even though it wasn't that old. I mean, 1923 is over 100 years old, but like it's not like I've stayed in the Homestead Hotel in Virginia, and that thing first was made in it's 98 or something like that. That one, definitely. You're walking down the corridors of that hotel, and you're like, yep.
I'm actually more nervous about the 1920s because I feel like people were getting better at haunting things. And so in the 17, like there were
those ghosts were advanced. Those are advanced 1920s
ghosts are advanced. 1700s
and it was
ghosts.
the Depression. They died during the Depression. They're angry. They want to get some ghost action. Mike, but I gotta be honest though, I would like to stay in this hotel and have a hot brown.
Yeah.
It seems nice. So, Louisville, just saying, if you want that to happen, start listening more to the show. Me and Mike will do a live show from the Brown Hotel.
At your haunted hotel.
I was about to say, Mike will bring ghost hunters from some reality show, and we'll track them down.
Co-host Cindy Kaza. I don't know if you guys know who she is.
I have no idea, Mike. Who's that?
She's a medium. She's on Ghost Hunters, but I used to open for her.
And she talked to the dead. And you did jokes before.
I opened for her. Yeah, I would always say something like, I'm here to make you laugh before most of you start crying.
Nice.
But yeah, she's cool. But she'll
Mike,
maybe.
I've got a headline from The Atlantic. Here we go. Quote, "The end of Hooters."
Oh yeah, I saw that, man. They're filing bankruptcy.
Yeah, I gotta ask though, Mike. Is Hooters really going away, or is this going to be like the end of Red Lobster? Because I heard Red Lobster was a goner, and I got to be honest, I still go by Red Lobster every day that hasn't gone out of business, and now they've got a Blake Griffin out there doing Lobster Fest commercials. Doesn't seem like it was the end of Red Lobster. Seems like they just tweaked a couple of things. But, like you mentioned, Mike, apparently, Hooters is $300 million in debt. So they filed for bankruptcy, and of course that allows them to negotiate leases and loans to stay in business. Mike, were you ever a frequenter of Hooters?
Only went a couple times.
Right, because of your wife? Yeah, we know. You old dog. You old so-and-so, Mike. Getting out. I went there. I went for some sporting events, predominantly. My old friend CHC $, we wanted to go to another wing place, and that wing place was closed. And so Hooters was our alternate that was across the street. And I ate way too many wings. And my God, I wanted to kill myself the next day, Mike. I was just greasy. There was like oozing out of my pores. Oh, it was horrible. Oh, it's bad. Okay, I've got one from Tasting Table here.
That's right.
This one's the humdinger, Mike. This is like as Doc G show headline as we can get. Quote, Dolly Parton's 3-item order at Taco Bell.
Yes.
And which hot sauce she prefers.
Finally.
Exactly, Mike. I knew it. I knew Dolly Parton was a Taco Bell type of lady. A ride or die, it's 2 a.m., let's make a bad decision type lady. I got the Baja Blast if she's got the fire sauce lady. Mike, any guess on her order? You got any ideas?
I feel like she goes classic, like a beef and bean burrito. Maybe a hard shell taco on the side.
I like it. That's it's not exactly it, but that's a good guess. Okay. Mike, she told Business Insider, which first off, props to Business Insider for hitting Dolly with the getting in the weeds business questions like, what do you eat at Taco Bell? Hey, before we get down to you making hits and millions of dollars and, you making an entertainment empire, what do you get at Taco Bell?
Sweet.
That seems like a Doc G show question there, not so much a Business Insider question. But Mike, she gets her go-to order consists of a Mexican pizza.
Mexican pizza. That was going to be...
that was it? You were thinking?
I was going to say Mexican pizza after all the other crap I said, but I kept
a Mexican pizza, a soft taco supreme, and a side order of black beans and rice.
Okay, interesting. Didn't even know you could get that.
Right? Mike, she may be the only person in the world that gets a side of black beans and rice. I think most Americans, if they're at one of those Taco Bells that has the attached Pizza Hut, they just get a side of personal pan pizza. I'll get some tacos, and I guess this pizza will go well with it. And then I like the Mexican pizza, Mike. I think you can think of the Mexican pizza as the open-face crunch wrap. Am I right?
I was,
Yeah. I mean, it is a crunch wrap with just without the extra soft shell on it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is. Pretty delicious.
Yeah.
Pretty delicious. Now, Mike, I'm going to let you guess. What do you think the hot sauce is? What'd you go with?
Mild.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
Nailed it. Mild, Mike. She's not a fire sauce lady.
Nope.
Now, I'm not usually a fire sauce person myself, Mike. I usually go hot.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, fire, it's not that it's too hot. It's, like, too pulpy. It's thicker than the other
Hard
sauces.
to get out of the package.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of that added thickness. It's
hard to distribute.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not doing it for me. It's not doing it for me, Mike. But you know what, Mike? We need to take a break. We're going to hear from our guest of honor here, VAVO. We will be right back on the Doc G Show. Back here on the Doc G Show, Spinnaker Radio, WSKRLP 95.5 FM in Jacksonville, Florida. Mike, if the listeners are so inclined, what should they do to help our show?
Well, they should definitely subscribe to the show wherever they consume their podcasts.
Amen.
Spotify, Apple, YouTube, SoundCloud, Sirius, Pandora. Plus.
Yes. All of those places, Mike. All of those places. Mike, I don't want to get you too excited. We've got a new person, a new group on the 5-star listens.
Uh-oh, who is it?
That's right. You'll see at the end of the list. Here we go.
Shoutouts.
Shout out to Anoka, Minnesota, Ashburn, Virginia, Piracai, Brazil, San Diego, California, Dublin, Ireland, Boardman, Oregon, Genoa, Italy, Rochester, Texas, Barcelona, Spain, Winfield, West Virginia, Biloxi, Mississippi, Tulsa, Oklahoma, Peoria, Illinois, Katy, Texas, Toms River, New Jersey, Olive Branch, Mississippi, Nashville, North Carolina, Los Angeles, California, Spartanburg, South Carolina, Athens, Georgia, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Chicago, Illinois, Boynton, Virginia, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, Columbus, Ohio, Falkenstein, Germany, Jacksonville, Florida, Columbia, South Carolina, Radford, Virginia, Gainesville, Florida, Frankfurt, Germany, Fort Worth, Texas, and Phoenix, Arizona. There we go. Mike,
what up, Phoenix?
I was strapped for time. So, Phoenix, I apologize. I know the only reason you were listening was to get fun facts about your own city from me. And I was strapped for time. I didn't get enough facts. So, next week, I will give you more facts, Mike. But here's my one fact. And I'm sure you knew this. You're out there in that area. But I did not. I've been to Phoenix, and I never knew this. They don't observe daylight savings time. I didn't know that, Mike. Those crazy sons of what are they doing out there?
I know.
That's just nuts. I was like, what? They just go through standard time all the time? That's crazy, Mike. Yeah, when you come from Nevada, you've got to switch times.
Yep.
I had no idea. My goodness. I guess I started thinking about it. I guess every time that I went there, it was when everybody else was in standard time. So I never thought about it. But that's mind-blowing, Mike.
Yeah, it's great. Must be nice.
I'm guessing there's some listeners out there that were in my boat that just didn't realize that. Now I feel a little stupid, but, what can you do? Anyways, shout out to Phoenix. Phoenix, I will have more fun facts about you next week. Thank you for listening. We do appreciate your regular listens. Mike, 4-star listeners. First on the 4 stars, Dhaka, Bangladesh.
Dhaka. What's up, Dhaka? Thank you.
Yes. We're glad to have you back. Keep listening. Whether you are bots or not, we appreciate you, bots.
We do.
Keep listening. Mike, next on the list, Manila, Philippines. Yeah. Manila, I got to say, I'm sorry, but thanks to Ludacris, all I think when I hear your name is, I'm the Thriller in Manila, Schlong in Hong Kong, Pimp 'em like Bishop, Magic Don Juan. every time. That's it. Every time, Mike. I just think of those lyrics. And I'm like, Manila, you're more than that. You're more than just ludicrous lyrics. And also a very famous Ali versus Frazier fight. That's where the name Thrilla in Manila came from, Mike. Were you aware?
Yeah.
Okay, you were aware.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Okay, I think so. Pretty sure.
Pretty sure.
Fairfield, Connecticut, Mike. Shout out to Fairfield. Tampa, Florida. Shout out to Tampa. I'm sure you're like me, Mike. I only think we talked about it. Favorite NFL logos. I always just think of the old jazzy pirate whenever I think of Tampa. That just comes in my head. The old 80s pirate. Yeah, solid one. Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Think of old Milwaukee there. Johnson City, Tennessee. Shout out to you. Obertshausen, Germany. Might be saying that wrong, but if I am, sorry, Obertshausen. But shout out to you. Germany, just representing, by the way. I mean, it's not like we got a ton of Germany representing, but I mean, Falkenstein, Frankfurt, Germany. We got some places. And now Obertshausen. So anyways, Roanoke City, shout out to the Star City. Nashville, Tennessee, shout out to you guys. Council Bluffs, Iowa. And lastly, Oakland, California. Mike, we need to move on to a new segment. This segment is called Don't Be a Hermit Like Doc G and Go See These Shows. So these are shows that are coming up. These are people that, of course, have been on the show, and I want to promote their work. Yeah. And so if you're in the northern Florida area, you need to see these shows, guys. It's worth it. So first, this weekend, we're getting ready to talk to them here in just a bit. April 4th, VAVO. VAVO being at Decca Live. Mike, I have never been to Decca Live. It's a new venue, and it seems to be a lot of dance. A lot of dance and electronic there. But some real big shows. Some real big acts going there. So need to check that out. 4-5, Angela Johnson and Mal Hall at the Old Florida Theater.
Yeah.
So need to go check those guys out. April 5th. Mike, we already had a little inside baseball for the listeners. We already did the interview for this. Two things about this interview. I may be playing golf with Mal Hall. I'm crossing my fingers. I would like to actually play golf with him there. That'd be fantastic. And two, during the interview, listeners, I had my camera off for the majority of the interview.
What?
And I had no idea. I feel like a moron, just to let everybody know. It's a real dumb thing. And Mike didn't know that I didn't know that I had my camera off, so he didn't say anything.
I had no idea.
So he wasn't like, hey, you're an idiot. Because if he was like, hey, you're an idiot, I would have been like, oh, my God. I'll turn it off. So I've decided, Mike, literally at the start of interviews, I'm just going to ask the person or tell the person, hey, if my camera goes off, just let me know. That wasn't on purpose. I'm stupid. And sometimes I don't see the little camera button down at the bottom with a big X over it. So let me know. Anywho, 4-5, listeners. April 5th, Florida Theater. Fantastic show. Angela Johnson, Mal Hall. Check it out. They're going to be great. 4-8, Old Crow Medicine Show at the Florida Theater. Just a fantastic group. I talked to Mike Harris, their guitarist, a little while back. Fantastic, Mike. Oh, my gosh. You got to check it out. Got to check it out. It's going to be a good show. They are a live band. They hit it hard on stage. April 12th, Charlie Barron's at the old Terry Theater. Fantastic comedian. Just letting the Midwest out, Mike. Letting the Midwest travel across the country. Shout out to Charlie. So there you go, Mike. Need to check out those shows.
Yeah. Hey, I'm going to make a quick plug myself. April 11th, Don't Tell, Las Vegas.
Okay.
I'll be on that show.
Don't tell. Don't tell. So, listeners, if you're in Vegas.
Yeah, if you're in Vegas.
The other one's all in northern Florida.
Northern Florida. But this is in Vegas. So if you're in town.
Just in case. Mike, we need to move on to another segment. It's called Previously on the Doc G Show.
Previously on the Doc G Show.
Mike, on the last Mike C Top 3, your number one festival was the Halloween Festival right here in Florida. I wondered where the name came from, and I found it out.
Word.
It's because String Cheese Incident, the band, used to call their run of Halloween shows Halloween shows. And they most likely called their Halloween shows Halloween because they make a whole bunch of references to hula hoops in their songs.
Oh, okay.
So there you go. That's
There we
the
go.
reason. Pretty
Cool.
simple. Pretty simple. Mike, I also mentioned that several artists that we've had on the show have performed at Halloween. How many you think?
I think you listed off like 10 artists.
Yeah. So is 10 your guess?
Yeah.
18.
18.
18.
Nice.
I'm going to say it real quick. Big Gigantic, Moon Taxi, Jennifer Hartswick, Rising Appalachia, Perpetual Groove, Talk, Stick Figure, Little Hurricane, Shook Twins, My Morning Jacket, Trevor Hall, Steel Pulse, G-Love, Andy Frasco, Magic City Hippies, Doom Flamingo, Travers Brothership, and Flip Turn.
Nice.
So basically what I'm saying is we run Halloween, Mike.
We do.
We run Halloween. Now, Mike, real quick before we go to break, I got one thing, really quick, miscellaneous file here. Mike, I wanted to hear the other day some classic tunes. Yes! And I wanted to hear some classic rap. So I listened on Apple Music. That's right, Apple. Because when you search something on Apple, it comes up instead of searching for the Doc G Show. And the first thing that comes up is 40 other podcast, Spotify.
Unbelievable.
Anyways, I was on Apple Music, Mike, and I searched for Dr. Dre, Still Dre. And I just played the first song that came up on the search. And it was the censored version, Mike.
What?
Yeah. I was like, what the is this? And granted, Mike, I know the hypocrisy. I know what I'm saying right now is going to be censored when I actually put it out. But you know what? This is a podcast, all right? This is not a musical expression. And I want the musical expression with the most in it, okay?
Yeah.
And that upset me a lot when I said, I was like, what how did this come up number one? What is this? Exactly. Exactly, Mike. Anyways, Mike, now that I got off that, I feel better. Mike, we need to take a break, and we are going to be back with none other than Jesse from VAVO right here on the Doc G Show. Welcome back to the show, everybody. We are super excited to be having one half of VAVO, none other than Mr. Jesse Fischer, who will be in Jacksonville April 5th at Decca Live and just released their single Dust on the Bottle a couple weeks ago. Jesse, how are you, sir?
Good, thank you. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Of course. Now you just told me before we came on you're getting ready to come down to Miami, and you were just recently in Miami. It's just about like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I was at Live with Pauly D. And
My God,
I'm headed down to Miami to do Miami Music Week for a couple of days, and then off to Vegas, and then Jacksonville. So,
jeez, a lot of flying, man. A lot of flying. Now, was that the first time meeting DJ Pauly D?
No, I met him in Boston a couple weeks before that.
Nice. Now, were you ever a Jersey Shore watcher back in the day?
I dabbled in a couple episodes. I wasn't like a diehard, but I think almost everybody probably saw some sort of Jersey Shore at some point in their life. So
So you didn't go as hard to actually gym, tan, and laundry, but you did watch every
I
now
probably
and then.
should have, but no, I didn't. I always had the laundry done, but the gymming and the tanning was something.
I would say the gymming would be good as far as just overall health. Tanning, that's debatable. We might want to,
Yeah, I'm not a big. I mean, you got to be careful with that, you know.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
definitely not the tanning bed outside, sure, but make sure you wear that sunscreen.
Very important. I would say it's very important for some of those shows that you guys have done there out in the, out in the desert, out in on the beach. You get some pretty bright venues every now and then.
Yeah, Vegas, summertime. I think last year I was out there. Was like it was record-breaking heat. It was like 125 degrees or something crazy. So, I mean, at that point, the sunscreen is not really doing much.
No. I mean, did you have like any coolers hitting you? Any fans? Would you have?
So the beach clubs, they have fans that kind of mist you and stuff. But again, I mean, you gotta be careful. And that even in that heat, getting spritzed with mist, it's crazy out there.
Well, I mean, if I was a DJ, I'd be a little worried about something getting broken down if I got a lot of mist coming my way too.
Well, I mean, at the beach clubs, usually you're shaded, so the mist goes out to the audience.
Oh, so you missed all the mist. Oh, that's sad.
Yeah, exactly.
That's sad. I noticed. I was looking at that. I looked at that picture of you and Pauly D. He had one massive P chain going on there. That was big.
I've seen, I haven't seen him in person before, but just seeing him on Instagram and stuff like that, he's always been very with the jewelry for sure.
Yeah. You ever thought about getting a big J necklace for yourself?
Probably years ago I would have, but I think my tastes have changed a little now. So something a little subtle I'd probably do, but yeah.
I gotcha. Since you're going back to Miami here. I lived in Miami for about 5 years. It's obviously fun town. It's got to be a fun town to do some shows.
Miami is crazy. Yeah, I mean, I'm going down there. It's more of a networking week. Kind of Miami Music Week leads into Ultra. So it's more business for me this year than anything. But I'm going to do a little pop up and just shake some hands and say hi to people and yeah.
I like it. Now, are there any? Have you, over your career, have you developed any go-tos, any must-dos when you're in Miami?
I mean, my manager is more like a foodie guy. I'm very basic with my food. You could just burgers and steak and that kind of stuff. So he loves to whenever we travel, set up these restaurants. So that's a big thing there. And then just seeing people that you haven't seen throughout, the year because you've been busy traveling and stuff. So
gotcha.
I don't have one go-to thing for Miami.
Now, so you're saying, does Max have to drag you to these food events?
I'll go, but I'm just not one who's looking up where to go sort of thing. So I don't really on him for that.
See, I'll be honest. Well, I probably don't get as fancy as he does, but I definitely, whenever I'm making a trip, I've got to find a couple of places to get real excited about as far as food.
I mean, I'm pretty good with McDonald's chicken nuggets. So. Whatever he wants to do, sure.
I'm not gonna kick chicken nuggets from McDonald's out of bed.
Chicken nuggets, people can say oh, McDonald's, but everybody loves McDonald's chicken nuggets. To be honest,
yeah.
And sure, it might be at different times, 3 a.m. when you're drunk or something, but everybody loves McDonald's chicken nuggets.
It's Jim Gaffigan has stand up where he talks about that, and that's the first introduction is where he says it's amazing. They've served 87 billion hamburgers, and yet no one admits they actually eat there. And it's very true.
Everyone loves to hate. It's everyone loves to hate on McDonald's, but we all eat it. So
come on. It's basically any fast food. Everybody
hate. It's people used to hate on Nickelback in the day, but they were selling the most albums ever. So it's you want to hate on them because you're just following the crowd, but the numbers, the math ain't mathing, because if you did hate certain things, then they wouldn't sell that many chicken nuggets, or Nickelback wouldn't sell that many records. But here they are, one of the biggest bands of all time with some great music. So,
Yeah, I love. I'm not gonna even try to lie. I love some Nickelback songs. Oh, they're some amazing ones.
I love Nickelback. I mean, it's funny because I think they had like a documentary thing on Netflix talking about like how they had so much hatred, but how they were one of the most popular bands of all time. And if you're at a party, if you're at a club, like I play a Rockstar remix of Nickelback, and everybody always goes off when they hear Nickelback. So I don't get it. I think it was just like pop culture. It was like, hey, we don't like Nickelback, but like we really do like Nickelback.
Plus, I always tell people, if you could win over Dimebag Darrells from Pantera, which they did, I mean, they had a song with Dimebag Darrells, like, you're a certified rocker if Dimebag likes you. Like, come on.
No, for sure.
But so you've been DJing for almost 13 years now?
I think I started in 2012.
Yeah.
It's a hobby. Yeah.
So now I heard you went to Cancun.
Yep.
For spring break.
Spring break. I mean, those were the days, and I don't know if it's because I'm 33 now and I'm reminiscing on like the quote unquote glory days, but dance music in that time was massive. It was iconic. It was legendary. I went to the City nightclub in Cancun, and I unfortunately, and I hate that it happened that way just based on when I was there, but Avicii was playing there the next week. But, just going into the city, this one DJ with like 6,000-7,000 spring breakers, I was just like, after that, I was like, this is what I want to do. And so I went home and I bought like a little M Audio mix board and started DJing at like parties and stuff like that. So.
Well, I mean, that's now it might have been a little bit, I don't know, not properly represented. But when I was looking at one of these old interviews, it said you went home and you quit your job and just.
Yeah. So the timeline is a little, I mean, I went home, I bought the board, and I had quit my job because was trying to get on cruise ships to DJ.
Okay. And
I was just like, hey, I got to just like, do my thing. Part of the reason was I had to get a certain level of fitness to like pass, because they have like this fitness thing. So I had to lose a bit of weight and stuff like that. So I just quit my job. And then I got on the cruise ships like a few months later. But it was all because of DJing that it played out like that.
I was about to say, I mean, the way it sounded when I heard that first, I was like, man, this guy cannonballs into the deep end when he wants to do something.
Did. Oh yeah, no, I do 100%. I mean, I've always, for better or for worse, I've always done that. But I'm of the opinion like life is. I know it sounds cliche, but life is too short to do something that you don't want to do. And obviously, you can't do things that are foolish. If you like, I had some savings and stuff like that, so that was all right. But I definitely wasn't doing something I loved. And I was like, you know what? I do it. I quit. If I fail, I'll find something else. You know what I mean?
What were you doing before the DJing?
I was doing just like refrigeration, but I wasn't like a journeyman or anything like that. So I was working my way into that, realizing that that's not what I wanted to do for the rest of my life, which is a great job. I still talk to a lot of people that I worked with, and they're doing really well. It's one of the highest paid trades, but it just wasn't me. So
I got to be honest. You put DJing on one side of the scale, you put repairman on the other.
Is a piece of the puzzle to life, and where you fit is where you fit. So, refrigeration just wasn't for me.
Now, were there any concerns that when you first came back, you first started DJing? Was there any like, I might not be good at this? Or was it as soon as you hit, you were like, yeah, I can do this. And yes, I'm getting a good response.
Yeah, I think you always have some sort of, so, I mean, and you also have to remember like DJing and producing, right? So like, to get big as just a DJ is extremely hard, especially now. I mean, you have some influencer DJs and stuff who do that. But to be like that iconic superstar that Avicii was and is, and Tiesto and these guys, you had to get into producing. So that was like the next step. If I were just to stay in DJing, I feel like I would have just kind of plateaued, and you would have been doing parties, maybe bars and stuff like that. So I had to kind of elevate, and yeah.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, you mentioned as far as quitting the job, what made you want to go on to the cruises? How long did you do that?
I mean, my family had cruised for a while, and I had been on a couple cruises, and I was like talking to DJs on there, and I was like, this is great. At the time, I think it was 21, 22, and you get to travel the world for free, meet all these people. And I truly don't believe there's a better job to get you prepared for life and dealing with people than working on a cruise ship, because you've got, 30, 40 different cultures, people from 100 plus countries, and you're all sardined in a ship for 3 to 6, 8 months or whatever. So,
Yeah.
And then you have guests on top of that are, you're getting 3,000-4,000 new guests every week that, you really learn people and your people. And that to me was just like the most valuable thing I think I've ever done, because I really got to learn just how people operate and function, and how to deal with people from all walks of life, which I never ever I literally don't think there's another job that could prepare you as well as that. So
I mean, knowing people, I know some people and they're pretty weird. Did you have, can you think off the top of your head any of like the weirdest situations that you had on the cruise ships when you were there?
I mean, you just get a lot of drunk guests, so that can get a little weird, right? And not necessarily weird, but different with people's different cultures and what they're used to and stuff like that. So you really got to learn where those kind of boundaries are for, different cultures and respect people's religions and stuff like that. So, but I would say if we're talking, weird would be more on the guest side of things. When you get 4,000 new people every week, I mean, you're getting people from all different walks of life. So
yeah. Well, what would you say, like, just I guess generalizations when you get that new crew on the boat? Who was the most surprising, like, culturally, that you had the most fun with, that you were like, wow, these guys bring it every time?
Everybody. I mean, there's a lot of like really rich cultures there musically, and it's cool because you can like barter things. So, there might be some Filipino guys who cut really good hair, and, you barter with them and they say, hey, if you can give me some music, I can get you haircuts and stuff like that. So it's such a cool network of people.
Yeah.
And it's just like this one big melting pot, which is really cool.
Absolutely. I'll say sort of the same thing. To a lesser degree, Miami is like that cruise ship in city size.
Well, and look how many cruise ships are in Miami too. So it's funny that
Exactly.
But Miami is very diverse for sure.
Absolutely. Well, now, so getting back to VAVO, you and Alden, he reached out to you, I think, on social media.
We had done a collab together.
And
And then once that collaboration was done, we said, hey, we should team up and, give it a year and see if we're any further ahead than when we were in our solo capacities. And that was back in, I think, 2015, 2016, right around then. And then,
Now, did he reach out individually for that original collaboration?
Yeah. If memory serves me right, that's what it was. We were talking to each other on SoundCloud back in the Sound.
Nice.
Go up on a SoundCloud remix and be the biggest DJ.
Yeah. Was there, like, when he messaged you on SoundCloud, were you like, maybe I should answer this? Because I feel like some of those messages, that's like a Red Roof Inn version of a message right there. It's sort of shady.
It was very different back then. I mean, you got to remember, Spotify wasn't around. SoundCloud was literally what was making artists.
Yeah.
Especially in the dance community. I mean, SoundCloud was just an exchange of messages and people and stuff. So nothing really sketchy about that. That was just where every DJ globally communicated, essentially.
With now, VAVO is the creator. Creator, curator, especially the name Yeedm, Yeehaw Dance music. Now, I do believe you were a fan of country music long sort of before you started mixing it in, right?
Yeah, I remember 2019, 2018. Max and I were driving, my manager Max and I were driving from New York to New Orleans for a show. Didn't pay very well back then, so we were driving. And I remember going through the South, Georgia, Alabama, and we just had like a Florida, Georgia line country playlists on. Windows, it was like 85 degrees. It was amazing. And Max and I were talking, and I'm like, dude, like I somehow want to do country dance music at some point. And, you know, that wasn't the right time. That wasn't the right time to try it and stuff. And obviously other artists had done it. There had been country remixes, you know, Chainsmokers have worked with Kelsey Ballerini, Florida, etc., Alesso. So it had been done, but for being an unknown artist, it would have been very hard to crack that because it kind of leaned like pop country. And then, you know, we just got our in back in 2023 when, you know, we remixed Morgan Wallen's Last Night, and then the pieces kind of just fit. So
yeah. Well, now, I mean, were you listening to country all the way back, like in Vancouver, like growing up?
Yeah, I really started to get heavy into country in 2010.
Okay.
My first country concert was Kenny Chesney, you know, and then it was like Brad Paisley, Toby Keith, rest in peace. I was able to see him many years ago. So yeah, I've been. It's funny though. In high school, I was always against it. You know, because I graduated in 2010. I'm 33, and you know, back then, country was, you were either a cowboy down in the South Country or like in Alberta country for us up in Canada, or you were like hip hop and pop dance music. Like there was no in between, because country back then wasn't pop centric like it is now. The lines didn't cross like they have now with guys like Post Malone, Morgan Wallen, all these guys that kind of blend it. So it was like you were either country or you weren't. And, you know, the majority of people when I was in high school weren't. So when I graduated and I guess my palette diversified is when I was like, dang, I really like this kind of music. So
nice. Well, now would you say Vancouver is more country now than it was when you were growing up?
Oh, I think everywhere is more country now than years ago. You know, literally everywhere is country. Because it's now kind of cool to like country, right? So all the influencers are in on it. You know, these festivals are getting really big, and just with the popularity of guys like Morgan, Luke, and stuff like that, their music goes top 40 now, which brings a way wider audience. You know, I know there's even like Latin country music that's taking off now, and big in South America. I have a ton of fans over in Europe, which we're trying to get to at some point, you know, London, Italy, Germany, Australia. Like it's literally going global.
Yeah. Well, now I mean, you alluded to it, you mentioned it, and you talked about it actually a couple of ways, but Avicii, you know, he hit us with the Hey Brother with Dan Tominski there back in 2013. I mean, when you heard that, was there a sort of a light bulb of like, that's
back in the day, you mean?
Yeah. Like when you first heard that.
I think I was almost ignorant to it because I was a massive Avicii fan, still am. I mean, Tim is probably my biggest inspiration. And I don't think, like many others, I appreciated what was happening at the time. And, you know, I watched the documentary, the second documentary that Netflix just put up a few months ago. And I didn't even realize how bad it was for him at Ultra when he premiered it. I realized, like, I knew, you know, people weren't really with that sound, but I didn't know how bad it was with the transition and stuff and how bad he felt after. And it, you know, it's one of those things where you don't appreciate somebody's genius until it becomes super popular and the cool thing to like, you know. And he literally was a pioneer not only in dance music but like the country crossover, the pop coming into dance music. And I don't know that people truly understand that. I know a lot of people say they do, but I think when you really investigate it and dig deeper, you really realize just how massive of an impact Tim was to music in general, not just dance music, not just country, just music in general.
Yeah, absolutely. I was blown away by that too, actually. You know, leading up this interview, I got down the rabbit hole there of watching the Avicii stuff. And I mean, to think that he was booed at Ultra Music
and he
Festival.
was already one of the biggest DJs in the world. That's like, I think what people forget too, is like, he already had levels, he had bromance, he was already selling, you know, millions of tickets worldwide. He already had some of the biggest records in dance music, and they still booed him.
Yeah.
You know, like it wasn't like he was some small unknown act that was about to have the biggest song of all time.
Yeah.
No, he was already well established. He was up there with Tiesto, Guetta, all those guys.
And now it's sort of hard to imagine that happening now because there is so much crossover from things, and you're like, what? People would be upset about that? Like, you know, it's pretty wild.
I think you still have that to a degree in certain stuff. You know, Yeedm is still quite new. I mean, obviously, like it has been done before, but I don't think to the degree of like determination and sticking to it like, you know, we have done. But yeah, I mean, look, I think it's one of those things where you as an artist have to believe in your music more than anybody else. And that's the first thing.
Yeah.
If I can't stand behind what I'm doing and what I'm creating, then how am I supposed to have you or anybody else believe it? And that's something that Tim really took on was, hey, I know this is going to be good and I love what it is, so I'm going to share it with the world. And you can't be afraid to do that. And I think a lot of people are afraid to do something that it isn't the most popular thing to do right now. People are afraid to take chances. And that doesn't only go for music, that goes for anything in life.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, one other thing on that, hey brother, I always think of the other side too of Dan Tyminski, because like I mean, to me he's so mind blowing in the fact that he's on that song, which of course has billions and billions of streams worldwide, and then he's also the voice for the Soggy Bottom Boys from Oh Brother Where Art Thou, which was also multi-platinum with I Am a Man of Constant Sorrow. And like, I feel like he's one of those guys though, that nobody could pick him out of a lineup. Like he's sitting there and no one would notice him. It's wild.
Well, and part of that too is I believe on the titling, like you can look in the credits and see his name, but on the title, Tim was notorious for not having featuring that artist on there. He gave him credit and stuff like that, but it was just always unfeatured. It was just Avicii and then the title. So, you know, most people aren't going to, especially now with Spotify, you can do it, go into the metadata and see the credits. But back in the day, you weren't able to see that. So if the name Tim wasn't on there, or Ariana Grande wasn't on there, then you wouldn't know unless you were in the scene or, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, for him, like that's the crazy thing is that's the same thing with the Oh Brother Where Art Thou soundtrack, because it's labeled Soggy Bottom Boys instead of Dan. Like it's, I'm just like that's got to be. I don't know if he likes it or not, but I'm like it's got to be so.
Do, right? Some people probably love to kind of fly under the radar. I mean, he's still getting paid, and yeah, it's.
I was about to say the paychecks definitely aren't bad from either one of those.
Yeah, I'm sure he's not complaining about that.
Well, now, like you mentioned, I mean, well, you talked about like that sort of negative feedback. Did you guys get any of that negative feedback from like the dance crowd or like the country music purist of like not liking what you were doing?
I think you always, no matter who you are, no matter how big you are, I mean, you look at Instagram, you look at any of these social media platforms, you'll always have some sort of hate or dislike for what your artistic vision is.
Sure.
We've definitely had that on both sides. When you remix iconic country songs, I think the very diehard fans, the older generation, if the artist is older, are going to be like, hey, why'd you do that? Leave it alone. This isn't, a very popular comment, especially in the country, is this isn't country. And, it's like, well, what is country? Because now, like, who are we to put any boundaries or brackets around a genre? Like, music is interpretive. Like, however you interpret it is fine. It's individualistic. I don't try to place my music in any sort of genre, like, EDM for sure, because it's a melting pot of dance music and country, but I wouldn't say it's more country than dance, etc. And at the end of the day, I just want to create music, and wherever that falls, it falls. I don't really believe in, necessarily titling stuff like that, but yeah, you'll always have, with the, invention of social media, you'll always have keyboard warriors and stuff who want to throw shade and hate at you for no reason, and sometimes you'll see a bad comment and you look and they're not even following you or anything. So it's like it just came across their feed and they want to be negative in your life right now for whatever reason. And yeah, it sucks. You know, we're all human. Those comments, no matter what anybody says, you don't want to read negative stuff, especially if they attack you or something or your artistry. But it's, you know, water off a duck's back. You just got to keep it moving. And again, like you had just brought up, I always look back to when Tim got booted Ultra, and he was already one of the biggest DJs in the world. So you just got to keep on keeping on, keep the head down, and keep making what you love to make.
I always find it interesting, like the genre argument of, like you said, this isn't country, and I'm like,
country bad for that for sure. A lot of diehard country fans are just, I don't know, they're stuck maybe back in the like Alan Jackson, George Strait kind of days where country was very like country grassroots.
Yeah.
And it's just not, I mean, 2025, that's just not where it's at. You still have guys like Zach Top and stuff like that who have, you know, a lot of that older country twang. Yeah. And that's fine. I mean, there's 7 billion people on this planet, maybe more by now, I'm not sure. There's music for everybody.
Yeah.
And I wish people would, instead of being negative to anything, just remember that this world is so big. There's always something for you. If it's not my song, if it's not Luke Combs' song, if it's not Tiesto's song, you're going to find something you like.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, you know, the thing that always gets me with the categories, the genres, is I'm like, those were created by the new record companies to just try to, you know, sell these to particular groups of people. There wasn't anything that actually defined them. So like and when you talk to like a lot of country artists, they're the ones that will tell you they don't believe in it either, you know? And
what makes a country song, right? Like, it's so, the lines are so crossed now. Like, is it having acoustic guitar, steel guitar? Like, what makes a song country? What, you know, like, I don't know. I like to just create, and, you know, where it falls, I guess.
Now, who would you say, like, I guess who was most surprising to you that you've heard from as far as like country artists that you wouldn't have thought, oh, these people will like our work, but they were really excited about it?
You know, I've done stuff like remix wise for Kane Brown. Obviously he's done stuff with Marshmallow 2, which has been, you know, a massive success. Mm-hmm. Dylan Scott, you know, he's a big country guy. I don't think he's really ever done anything kind of on the dance side, like when we did the Yeedm remixes for him. Mm-hmm. Nate Smith, Mitchell Tenpenny, a lot of these guys, they've shown love to it. And I think they understand that times have changed. And I think the cool thing about EDM and like the dance country fusion is that it allows me to bring new fans to them that they might not have had before. Like, I get a lot of DMs or people at shows that say, hey, I was a dance fan, never a country fan, and you've helped that, and vice versa. Mm-hmm. And that's cool to me. That's something that I never had doing just pure dance music, you know, or pure house music.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Tyler Hubbard, I met him. He was, you know, I did a remix, not officially, but a remix of Dancing in the Country, which he had heard and he had liked it. So it's just, it's like validation in a way when, like, you know, pure country guys are saying, hey man, that's cool. You know, Bailey Zimmerman, he's been out in Vegas with Diplo and us on stage, and he loves it. You know, he's just a guy who loves to have fun at the end of the day. And I think guys like that understand that, you know, music is ever evolving, and you know, what once was is no longer. So you have to kind of adapt and you just keep it moving, roll with the punches, essentially.
You mentioned a while back there, as far as sort of that first step when you guys did the Morgan Wallen remix there. When you released that on social media, was there like, did you think it would have a great response, or was it one of those, like you were saying, just sort of trusting yourself, say, hey, I really had fun doing this, I don't really care?
Yeah, I mean, we had never really had success on TikTok before. I mean, we'd had a couple that had done okay. Mm-hmm. And then, you know, we had posted it the one night and woke up and it was just exploding. And it was just like, okay, well, clearly people like this. Clearly there's a market for it. And then we just never looked back. And it was just, I think I had finally personally found like a real passion for what I was doing. And that had been missing from myself for a while.
Nice.
And it just, I think fans really connect with artists that believe in their craft.
Yeah.
Because you can make a song that is in, the moment right now that's a really hot sound or something. But if you're the one to kind of bandwagon or flip flop in and out, fans, they can sense that. They don't connect with that as well. And I think that's where the term like one hit wonders come in, people that blow up on one song and then it's a certain type of sound that they can't replicate because that wasn't what they were doing to begin with. And they don't build a fan base. They build a fan base on one song. They don't build a fan base to that artist, and they can't connect to that artist. And that's something that I really try now, especially as I'm dialing in my sound and stuff like that, to really just connect with fans.
Nice. Would you say TikTok was pretty critical for the success?
I think TikTok is what, I mean, there's no denying it. TikTok is what makes hits now, for better or for worse. I mean, major labels look at people who are blowing up on TikTok. I mean, you can't even count on both hands how many artists in the last 4 or 5 years have blown up on TikTok, and they're now superstars, right? I just alluded to him. Bailey Zimmerman posted on TikTok during the COVID singing in his garage, and now he's a country music superstar. There's just so many artists. I think, like Benson Boone, guys like this who use TikTok to not only blow the songs, but literally test songs, right? Like TikTok is a great place to test if something is going to do well or not. It's kind of that gauge, right? It's the thermometer on, is this hot or maybe it's not, right? And of course it's not the end all be all, but it's just such a good indicator on when something is going to, take off. So definitely.
I was about to say, do you ever like, if something doesn't go off, you're like, you're wrong, algorithm. That was a good one.
It happens. And you know what? I mean, just because I like it doesn't mean fans like it. I really stand by like, good music is good music. And the fans are going to decide, you know what I mean? Like, you can push something down people's throats with millions and millions of dollars. And it might flip people, but the organic way, I mean, people are just going to connect with, and there's just so much stuff being put out now. I think there's something like 70,000 songs released on Spotify a day. So how do you get through that? And a lot of that is, TikTok and
it takes a little time, I still think there is a little bit of a cream rises to the top sort of deal.
Yeah.
But
a lot of times records take, like you said, they can take a year. Like I always struggle with that as an artist. Like I'm very bad. I have like ADHD, and I'll put out a song, and if it doesn't blow up in a week, I'm like, oh great, on to the next one sometimes. And I'm like, hold on, like Jesse, you got to remember, if it did 100,000 streams in a month, which is great, that's 100,000 streams. Like I said, 7 billion people in the world. You know what I mean? Like it takes time to get out there. I mean, Shabuzi's Bar song didn't take off for 6 or 7 months after it was released, and it was by far one of the biggest songs of probably the last century. Like it was, massive song. So that's something that I always try to keep in the back of my mind is like, dude, sometimes things take time. If it doesn't go overnight, just believe in it. And that's important. Believe in it.
It's wild. It's like you talked about as far as TikTok and whatnot. I mean, we had this band on the show Ann Arbor. They're sort of like, I don't know what, they're a rock band, and they've been around for a good like 20 some years. They started in the very early 2000s, and
punk rock era.
Yeah, and that's sort of what they are, is sort of like that pop punk sort of deal. And just TikTok, for whatever reason, one of their songs, 18, just started going off on there, and like they went on their Spotify the next couple of weeks, and all of a sudden they're just like, Why are we getting millions of streams on this song?
Easy.
And it's literally now it's over 100 million on Spotify just because of that. And it was an unreleased single before that.
There are so many stories like that. Creed is having a big resurgence. A lot of people are starting to play Creed again, and already a massively successful band. More recently, Fetty Wap's had a song that's resurged, and I forget what the numbers were, but it went from say like 2 million a day to 20 million a day because it became a meme and a TikTok trend. So that's the thing is now music catalogs can sit for decades, and all of a sudden there's a trend that pops up, and that thing was it Murder on the Dance Floor? You know what I mean? Like there's just, the list goes on and on and on, but there's so many songs, like you said, from 20, 30, 40 years ago that get this massive resurgence, all because somebody did a funny trend to it.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's wild. I mean, EDM, of course, it seems like it's been a super fun ride for you guys.
I love it. Yeah.
I mean, you've awesome festivals, cruises. You guys got to play at the ACM Awards.
Yes. And that was iconic because, being a dance music group, I think it was probably one for the history books. I don't think they've ever had a DJ there. So that was one of the highest honors, I think, so far in my career, is to be recognized by such a prestigious, event and organization. So
yeah, I even saw you guys. I think you were chatting it up with Posty Malone there.
Yes, yeah. Austin's a great guy. He's a really good, down to earth guy. All the stories you hear about him being one of the most genuine, nicest human beings is so true.
I saw it was on one of your social medias. There was a clip of you guys of talking to him, and it was just like a 10-second clip, and all I could hear from him was he was holding a cup, and he's like, no, it takes your palate on a roller coaster.
That's fun. Yeah. So he got us to drink red wine and Red Bull.
I
threw up that night. I did. I had to leave the show early because I think it just like curdled in my stomach. And but when Post Malone tells you, hey, try this drink, as long as it's not anything crazy and illegal, I'm going to do it. So I tried it, and honestly, at the time, I got to admit, it was pretty good. But I drank on an empty stomach, and I was jumping around at the show and stuff, and it was just, my body was like, nope.
Yeah, I got a feeling. I mean, Post Malone tells you to do it, you're like, all right, I'll give it a shot.
It was probably I think it was box wine too. Like, it wasn't anything crazy, so that probably didn't help. But hey, I tried it. I tried it, and I have a good story for it. So
there you go. Well, talking about that as far as like Post Malone, it seems like you've gotten a fairly familiar with like talking to some of these huge artists. Have you ever been a little starstruck when you do meet one of these artists that you're like, holy crap?
Ironically enough, artist-wise, all these people are really cool, but at the end of the day, you just got to remember, like, they're all human. Like, they're no different than you and I. A lot of people put certain individuals up on pedestals, but we're all the same. We all bleed the same. We're all made of, flesh and bone. But I think one person, and it's not a musician, but I was at the airport about a month or two ago. I met Danny McBride from Eastbound and Down and a bunch of other stuff. And I got to say, meeting him, I don't know why, I was just like, damn, I just met Danny McBride. And that was a moment for me where I was just like, that guy is so freaking cool, because I love Eastbound and Down. I love so much stuff that he's in. And super nice guy at the airport. Obviously, it was just like, hey, Danny, I'm a huge fan. Like, crazy to see you here. And he was like, oh, cool, man. Thanks. And, just for me, that was like a wow moment. Obviously, meeting guys like Post Malone, et cetera, all these country music artists, dance music artists, it's great. But I try to just, keep level-headed about it, because at the end of the day, like I said, we're all the same.
Absolutely. I just would imagine, I think it'd be such a mind blow for me as far as Danny McBride not being a just because of all of his characters.
No, such a nice guy. I think when I meet like musicians and stuff, I don't think it's not like I'm starstruck. It's just like a full circle moment where I'm like, I met like someone like Chase Rice or Tyler Hubbard, and I'm like, dang, I grew up listening to your music, Florida Georgia Line in my 20s, like I was listening to all your stuff, or Chase Rice, like I was listening to your stuff on cruise ships 2013, 2014, like that to me is not like oh my God, it's you. It's just like, damn, that's cool that I'm meeting you and you know what I do and you've heard some of the stuff I do and I listen to you. I mean, I can go on my Spotify and show you how many liked songs I have from your catalog. So I think that's the cool thing about it. You know,
Definitely. I would say there's been some artists on the show that like I listened to when I was in high school, and then they were on the show, and I'm like, that's pretty awesome.
But yeah, it's even, you know, I listen to like the Howard Stern show, and a guy like Howard who can talk to anybody and get anybody on his show. You know, he gets certain people in his studio, and he's like, "Holy cow!" Like I'm a big fan. I loved your music, all this stuff. So yeah, I think you always have those moments for sure, and I think that's part of being a human too is having those moments. You know.
Well, now you're getting ready to play Jacksonville here in just about a week here. Now, you started off as a DJ, so I'm guessing the best thing for you is performing. I mean, that's what you got to get most excited for.
Yeah, I love performing. I love creating too, but part of creating is also testing out those songs that you've made. So it kind of can. But first time in Jacksonville, I actually worked on cruise ships out of Jacksonville back in 2014. But my first time performing.
Nice. Now, is it a tight set when you get up there on stage? Like, I mean, is it a real tight set list, or do you mess around on stage?
So obviously, you definitely, you know, you're kind of feeding off the crowd and stuff. But you know, and that's as Yeedm is newer. You know, it's a lot of people might not be aware of what exactly it is, like, because people think, oh, it's country dance music. So is it just like a country song that's at the original tempo?
Yeah.
And, you know, a dance track here and there. You know, I play a lot of, obviously, my remixes, and then a ton of mashups that, you know, most people haven't heard that are dance country. But also it's very, you know, commercial. So it's a lot of top 40 remixes and stuff like that too. It's not just country and dance music. It's the whole gambit, and I think that's what makes it unique is that there's something for everybody during the set.
Nice. Now, would you say you have like a go-to if you're seeing that the crowd doesn't have enough energy? Is there like a go-to?
I make them have energy. I get on that mic, you know, but yeah, I think every DJ, I mean, in the, you know, there's always those songs that are iconic, you know, whether it be like Heads Will Roll, maybe Barbie Girl or something like that.
Nice.
There's always those songs that, you know, they're just goated. You know, Mr. Brightside. There's a reason why when you're at bars you hear versions of those songs, because, you know, Sweet Caroline or Journey, you know, like there's just certain songs that are going to get them going. But yeah, I think once people come and see a show, they're like, oh, holy crap. Like now I get it. You know what I mean? And that's why I've been putting out mixes too. Like we just dropped our mix from Groove Cruise. So it gives people an idea of what to expect.
Nice. Now, seeing as how you're playing in Jacksonville, home of Skinnerd, is there a possibility of a Freebird Yeedm?
7-minute Freebird. I might have to make a quick edit there.
Well, I mean, you know, I'm just saying, I feel like that could be a real, like, you could have some real awesome, like,
moment. That could be.
I mean, there's some real, like, great drop moments in there, and with that solo, so many good. Oh yeah. I'm just saying.
I have to see what I can do.
Well, so you got the show in Jacksonville. What else is coming up spring and summer that you're looking forward to?
You know, just announced Stagecoach. So I'm back at Stagecoach this year with Diplo at his honky tonk. So
awesome.
Last year was incredible. One of my favorite shows that I did. So I'm really looking forward to that. They're expanding it. It's going to be even bigger and better. Quite a few festivals and shows that haven't been announced yet, but are coming soon. And then, you know, the big thing too, my Vegas residency with Win Nightlife out in Vegas. So I play Encore Beach Club and Excess Nightclub. And that was really awesome for me, seeing Vegas take to what we're doing, you know?
Yeah.
It was a good indication that because it's something different, you know, like I feel like a lot of music has been stale for a little bit. It's the same kind of music. It's the same act. So when you get something that's different, it kind of punches through. And, yeah, I'm so thankful to be there, and the whole team over there is amazing. And I actually kicked that residency off this Friday at Encore Beach Club. So pool season's starting early out there. So heating up. It's 90 degrees, and I'm ready for some pool parties.
I love it. I love it. We are too. Jesse, we are up against a break, but I want to thank you for taking the time to stop with us and talk to us on the show.
I'll see you at the show.
Absolutely. Listeners, make sure you check out VAVO at Decca Live April 5th and stream their music on streaming services right now. Let's take a listen to Dust on the Bottle right here on the Doc G Show. Back here on the Doc G Show. You just heard of VAVO. There it is, Mike. VAVO. Nice guy, that Jesse. I didn't know that in Vancouver, Canada, there was so much country, Mike. You know, I mean, it's everywhere, obviously, but I just don't think about it like that, you know?
Yeah. Me
like
neither.
Vancouver, you know? I think of the South. But then that's the thing is like pretty much if you're not in a city in America, most likely country is going to be the most listened to thing. Like anywhere. And even in cities, it's a big deal.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, but I just, you know, you don't think of Canadians as being like, yeah, where's my country, boy? You know, it's not usually what you think of. So
No.
yeah, I mean, not that Jesse is that guy, but he does listen to country. and
What
he
do
is
you
from
think
Van-
of, though? You know, like some jazz? What do you think Canadians listen to? Some,
Let's see. What do I think? Snow, Informer from the 90s. That's what I think. He was Canadian, Mike.
okay.
Not was. He is. He's still alive. So, you know, Informer is Canadian. So there you
I like
go.
Snow Informer. What a great name.
It's
Snow
a
Patrol, too. I think it's
Informer. Player. I like your boom boom down.
yeah.
Yeah. Jam, Mike. But, you know, I mean, just all the cool things that they've done, all the cool people they've got to play with so far. And I'll be honest, Mike, after doing that interview, you know what happened? I listened to a playlist of all Yeedm while I was getting my cardio on. I was like, this is upbeat. I'll listen to it.
Yeah.
And it worked out pretty well. I'll be honest.
yeah.
There were a couple songs that I didn't vibe with, not VAVO songs.
Nope.
Some other people of Yeedm, you know. But yeah, it's good stuff, man. It was
Cool.
good stuff. So shout out to VAVO. Thanks for coming on the show. We really appreciate it. Make sure, once again, of course, you get out there. You get to their concert there on April 4th. But Mike, we need to move on to the fastest growing segment in the world.
Mike C, top 3.
That's correct. Now, Mike, you chose Tupac.
Yeah.
Tupac greatest songs. And your top 3 Tupac songs. And I'm going to be honest. This is basically like one of the one-hit wonders. I've got like 30 honorable mentions.
Yeah, me too. I got like 5. But
So difficult.
we're just going to basically list off all Tupac songs.
Exactly. Every single one he's ever done. That's it. I did see, Mike, when I was just trying to remind myself and seeing what other people, they didn't influence my opinion, but I did look up like Tupac greatest songs. There was a list of Tupac's 75 greatest songs. And I was like, I think you're only missing like 10 other ones that you're like, no, those don't count. Okay. But all of these, top 75.
So true.
I think, you know, we should do that, Mike. Make a list. Every Tupac song from last to first. List them, you know?
Yeah.
But anyways, Mike, I'm guessing we should do top 3 and then honorable mentions?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. My number 3, Mike, and I put this one in. This was a little bit tough for me, but if I didn't put this one in, it's going to ruin my other choices for you. But if I didn't put this in, all of my choices would have came from the All Eyes on Me album. And I was like, I can't do all 3 on All Eyes on Me. There's other great songs that he's done. So I went with I Get Around.
Okay.
I Get Around, it's such a feel-good song, right? If you didn't know, Mike, he was part of Digital Underground before he went solo, right? So he was a backup dancer for Digital Underground, and then they let him on a verse of their song, and they realized, oh, this dude can spit hot fire, right? And so then he got a bunch of record deals, and that's how he actually went solo. So on I Get Around, it was like his payback. He was like, hey,
Nice.
man, you guys be on my song. Here we go. And I Get Around, just it's good vibes, man. It makes you feel it makes you feel happy. It's about a guy with loose morals getting around, as the song says, and it's just fun. It's just fun, and I love it. And he's got some awesome necklaces in the video, and he's cruising.
I watched the video. Yeah.
Oh, it's good stuff. It's good stuff. Mike, you're number 3.
Changes.
Now, Mike, I'll go ahead and tell you this. On my list, I made a decision, and it's totally acceptable that you did not make this decision. I made a decision. Anything that was actually released after he was dead, I couldn't put on the list as a
Really?
actual top 3. I was like, because trust me, there's a bunch.
Changes released after he was.
Yeah, it was released.
Wow.
It was released in '98. He was killed in '96.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah. It came out. It was the single that came out with his greatest hits, which came out in '98.
Oh man, yeah, such a good song.
Such a jam.
Yeah.
Such a jam. And I mean, honestly, you could argue that some of his songs after were way better than the songs that he did, because you had these producers after he died trying to make their absolute best work because they knew they were going to be paired up with Tupac. So they were like, I got to make this as one of my best jobs ever. And Changes is one of those, man. And it's crazy.
I didn't know that.
I mean, it's so... Again, it's like I talked about when we mentioned Tupac earlier, but he was so ahead of his time, both in like the what was going on, but also in his years, how wise he was for like a 24-year-old when he wrote that.
Yeah.
You're just like, what? When I was 24, I was picking my butt and hanging out at a 7-Eleven.
Exactly.
Are you kidding me? Like,
Yeah.
that's insane, man. And it's just so, like, you hear everything, like, in that song at the beginning. Like, he's talking about basically the George Floyd murder at the very beginning of that song. It's just not the George Floyd murder. It was what happened in the 90s,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's wild. It's wild.
It is wild.
Very, very good song. I huge fan of Changes. My number 2, Mike. This is the only deep cut that I have on the list. Life Goes On. Life Goes On, which is on the old All Eyes on Me album. I immediately connected with it when I was in 5th grade the first time I heard it. That's right, I'm old, everybody.
That's right.
I had a boombox, Mike, a Sony boombox with the little top-loaded CD player on there. I had this CD, and I heard this song, and I was like, yeah, man. Because, I mean, it's all about his friends dying, but life goes on. And he feels sorry for all these people, but life happens. And it's funny. I mean, it's not funny. It's ironic, that it basically happened to him. He was foreshadowing what happened to him with friends that he had seen do the same thing. And, it's always the song that I point to that I'm just like, honest art comes through no matter where it's coming from. Honest art can relate to anyone regardless of your background.
So true.
Because here I am, a goober from Virginia who's never been in the streets of California, ever struggling for anything. But I'm like, yeah, I feel you, Tupac.
Yeah, it's incredible how that happens.
I got you, man.
Yeah.
It just, I memorized all those lyrics by the time I was starting 6th grade, and I was walking around just rip-rapping those things all over the place, and people are like, really? You're going to pour out a 5th for your homies that you lost. That's weird. And I was like, suck it. I'm a fan. Anyways, Mike, you're number 2.
How Do You Want It?
Another classic off of All Eyes on Me, Mike.
Yeah, man.
Very, very good one. Huge fan of it. I mean, just such a good, the Casey and JoJo chorus.
Yeah, man.
I mean,
killed
just,
it. The whole song is just, it's a vibe. It really
that little
is.
guitar in the background, the little, it's just this high pitched like strike every now and then. It's good stuff, man. And that bass where it starts off, it's good. It's good. It's good. I love it. I love it, Mike. Okay, my number 1. You might have the same number 1. I don't know. California Love.
Oh yes, we did it, Doc G. California Love.
I mean, I thought about a whole bunch of other ones, but I was like, how do you not? Like, that's such a song, such a jam. Like, I don't know. Try to think of other anthems for locations. I don't know if there's a better one of like pride of where you're at than California Love. Like, I mean, like New York or Empire State of Mind. Like, no, I'm sorry. I'm picking California Love over Empire State of Mind.
For sure,
like,
for sure.
It's just such a...
It has everything.
It's so fun. And again, take you back to that boombox, Mike. I remember having that boombox. I remember going to my friend Lee's birthday party. Yes! May 2nd. And going to his birthday party, spring, the new year has sprung, right? And we're out on his patio, and we're just blasting that. Like, yeah! Woo! California Love. And people are like, huh? What are these morons doing? What is... Okay, we're in the middle of nowhere. There are no people watching us, but still, it's just, I mean, my God, Mike, it's just, I mean, the Dr. Dre verse.
Yeah.
And just, he comes in, the Tupac, when he comes in, so much passion. That's one of the things about him is he's just got so much passion.
There's a lot of passion,
in his voice, you know, and you're like, yeah, I do love all the areas of California. Yeah, I do love Sacktown. I'm a fan of the Bay Area. That is where they put their Mac down. True. Give it up. Like, you know, it's just, it's good.
And the video. I mean, let's talk about, like, the video was incredible too. I mean, it was basically like a Mad Max, you know.
It is a Mad Max feel, and you're having a Wild West feel, you know. It's the lawless West, you know. And like, that's the thing, is they made all of that like right when Tupac got to death row. So, like, nothing had gone horrible yet. Like, because it all, like, before he died, it had gotten pretty bad already. Like, it was all
the controversy and everything.
Yeah, it was just a weird situation, you know, Suge is a murderer and all of that stuff. So, like, it was, but then it was just all fun. They had got him out of jail. They'd bailed him out of jail. He was making tons of money. Everybody was making tons of money. They were on top of the world. And you got that awesome, voice modulator in the background.
Yeah, it is. It's so sick.
California Love. Oh, so good.
It's great, Doc G. Also, hey, by the way, man, it's the first time we've had like a similar top one in a while. I don't know when the last one was.
I'm trying to think of the last number, but like that's the thing is like when I did the number 1 on this one, I was like, how do you choose anything else?
Yeah,
like because like it's everything. It's not just the lyrics. It's the feel. It's the vibe.
It's got it all, man.
It's the music. Like, and it's got Dr. Dre producing it.
Yeah,
like when you got Dr. Dre at his height producing it with one of the best rappers of all time. Like, get out of here. You're not gonna make that better. You're not going to, because, like, I mean, that's the thing, is on my honorable mentions, I've got To Live and Die in L.A., which is basically California Love Part 2, but that didn't have Dre as the producer. Not nearly as good, man. Not as good.
Nope.
So anyways, okay, Mike, honorable mentions. Honorable mentions, I broke them up into 3 categories. The songs after he died, right? then just his songs off of his albums, and then lastly features that have Tupac. So first, features that have Tupac: Smile, Scarface's song Smile that features Tupac.
Sweet.
Jam. Such a good song. Then Thug Love with Bone Thugs and Harmony. Fantastic jam. Got the awesome gunshot sound effect in the song. So good. So good. And lastly, Dusted and Disgusted with E40. Since you've got several, Mike, give me a couple of yours.
I would say the first one for me, I mean, this would be a number 4. Would be To Live and Die in LA.
Of course.
Yeah.
Very good. Very good.
I Ain't Mad at You.
Yep. That was very close to being on my top. That might be number 4 for me, as I Ain't Mad at You. Because that's just, I mean, it's what everybody does. It's a perfect epitome of like, hey man, we haven't really been friends for a long time. I'm not mad at you. It's just the way life goes. That's what happens. And like he's explaining that in like 3 different instances of friendships. And it's what Pac got. He got life at such a young age. So impressive. Anyhow.
Yeah, man. It's got all the feels. And then Can't See Me, which is I like that song because it was in a really good skate video. I mean, or is a section in a really good section in a skate video, and Can't See Me. And then just 2 more, Do for Love, which was actually like one I may have heard once or twice in my life, but I played it this morning and I was like, wow, this is amazing. This is getting added to the unskippables list.
Oh yeah. That's a post-death right there.
Yeah. And then Dear Mama.
Yeah. Okay. So, Mike, let me add, there's only one, of course, the one Can't See Me from the skate video that I don't have on my list. Others, we already mentioned Changes, yes, after he died. Do for Love, after he died. Ghetto Gospel, after he died. Running with Notorious B.I.G. after he died. Thug Mansion, after he died. And lastly, Until the End of Time. Until the End of Time, huge jam. Love that song. Man. Then the songs that he released when he was alive that are honorable mentions: Only God Can Judge Me with Rappin' Forte. Good stuff. Holla at Me. Oh, that's a jam. That is a jam. That Holla at Me, I don't know if this is the case, but it seems like all of Nipsey Hussle's career was like inspired by that song because it sounds so much like a lot of what Nipsey came out with later. All About You, also big jam. All Eyes on Me, huge jam. You mentioned on your list, How Do You Want It, huge. 2 of America's Most Wanted with Snoop, great. Dear Mama, fantastic. I've got, oh no, it's over there. I was going to pull up the old album, but it's right behind me. Me Against the World, jam. Keep Your Head Up, jam. Hit 'Em Up, one of the best, battle rap songs of all time. Definitely the most violent battle rap song. You look at Kendrick's and people are like, oh, he went so hardcore. Go listen to Hit 'Em Up again. You'll see what hardcore is. He's basically saying he's going to murder like 47 different people. And you're like, whoa, easy. I mean, he starts the song off with your and the click you claim. Yeah, pretty hard. Pretty hard. And then lastly, Ambitions as a Writer, Hail Mary, Brenda's Got a Baby. Woo! So many good songs, man.
Yeah, man.
Okay, Mike.
Good one.
What do we got for the next list?
All right. This one's going to be interesting. Top 3 smells.
Ooh, I think we actually. So this was before you, so I'll allow it.
Okay.
Because I think this was before you, but yeah. Okay. No, it wasn't. Well, it was before you, but it was actually in an interview that I brought that up. Yeah. Okay. Top 3 smells.
Top 3 smells.
We'll see if my smells have changed. I think my smells have actually changed. Actually, honestly,
smells change.
I think there's a new one in the top 3 that I can think of.
Sometimes you smell new smells.
Well, I have identified one of the smells that I love so much, and now I know what it is. Mike, 2 birthday suits left. Who do you want? Do you want the historical figure or the basketball player?
Well, let's go with the one I probably won't get. Historical figures.
We've talked about this historical figure.
I'm sure we have.
Not a lot, though, but I think there's one part of the clue that will definitely give it to you. So I actually have this one at like 70% as well, I think. Mm-hmm. Okay, here we go. An ancient king that was born April 2nd, 748 in France. In his lifetime, he became the king of the Franks, king of the Lombards, and emperor of the Carolingian Empire. He was crowned emperor in Rome by Pope Leo III. In a lot of ways, he's known as the father of modern Europe. He has the same name as a popular radio show host on The Breakfast Club. Name that birthday suit wearer.
Charlemagne?
Charlemagne is correct.
Cool.
Yes. I told you that last clue would give it to you.
Well, the last clue was, I mean, I had no idea who it was. I just went with Charlemagne, But I do recognize that as a
I forget. We just brought it up. Well, I think I cut this from the show, but we brought it up a while back in a rip from the headline segment where some famous person had her DNA done and she was related to Charlemagne. She was like, 32nd grandchild of Charlemagne.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
And I was like, who gives a what are you talking about? Like, come on. Anyways, Charlemagne, by the way, to that fact, Mike, had 20 children from at least 10 different women. He was getting around, Mike. Yeah, I guess you can do that when you're a king of basically all of Europe. Yeah. Also, fun fact, they analyzed his skeleton when he died, or not, well, like years, years and years after he died. He is somewhere between 6'4" and 6 feet, which made him an absolute giant back then. Because, the average height then was like 5'4" for an adult dude or something like that. Yeah. So, I mean, it basically is equivalent of him being like, I don't know, 7 feet now, 6'8", 6'10", somewhere in that level. Mm-hmm. He was massive.
Advanced.
Yeah, massive. Anywho, Mike's second birthday suit, I don't know. We'll see. He's not, he's an all-star, but born on April 2nd, 1994 in Cameroon. Our birthday suit wearer is currently playing on the Indiana Pacers. He's played in the league for 9 seasons. The most he played for was Toronto. During his career, he's been a 3-time All-Star, 2-time All-NBA player, the NBA's most improved player, and an NBA champion in 2019 with Kawhi Leonard and the Toronto Raptors. His nickname is Spicy P. Name that birthday suit wearer.
Is that Pascal Siakam?
Nicely done, Mike. There you go.
I like that guy.
2 for 3, Mike. Good job.
I'll take it.
I was right on the 3 for 3, but you know what? 2 for 3 is respectable.
I will take it.
So you like old Pascal, huh?
Yeah, man, he's a solid player. I loved watching him in Toronto during the finals, and he's fun to play with in 2K.
He is a this sounds really bad, but he's a glorified role player. Not glorified, I shouldn't say that. He's a advanced role player. Like, he knows how to fill his role really well, and he fills the stats, but he acts like a role player in the fact that you don't really hear anything from him. Mm-hmm. He just does his job. He's just one of those dudes that's like, yeah, I'm going to go out there, I'm going to ball outrageous, and and I mean, he's been averaging something like 20-some points this year, some crazy number. Like, so, yeah.
Yeah, he's awesome, man.
Yeah. And he didn't even really like basketball to start off with. His brothers were huge fans. He didn't really actually, dedicate himself to the game until he was 18. Then he went to the University of New Mexico and just started dominating. So there you go. Shout out to Pascal Siakam. Shout out to Marvin Gaye. And lastly, shout out to Charlemagne.
Shout out.
Not you, Breakfast Club Charlemagne.
Nope.
The old dude that was giant.
Word.
6'4"-ish.
Yeah.
Anywho, Mike, we need to wrap it up for this week, but I do want to tell the listeners all kinds of fantastic shows coming up. I mean, Mal Hall. I mean, Charlie Barron's. I mean, Old Crow Medicine Show. I mean, Doug Aldridge, returning guest Doug Aldridge. I can't wait to talk to Doug. You remember Doug, Mike?
Vaguely.
Guitarist. Do you remember I made a clip about him wearing jerseys, and he used to wear a Kobe jersey, and he talked about how Kobe inspired him up on stage.
Okay.
Yeah. Real cool guy. I love Doug. Can't wait to talk to Doug again. Gonna be fantastic. But Mike, we need to wrap it up for this week. I have been your host, Doc G. With me, as always, the one, the only, Mikey Maximus, the Fernicus. Charette.
Always a pleasure, Doc G. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. And until next week, zip it up and zip it out.
Zippity-doo-dah.
One day.